Hello and welcome. You have tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shrishti Sharma and with me as always is Cheryl D'Souza. And viewers, this is the show where you get answers for all your stock related queries. In a short while from now, we will start taking all your queries on the show with two of our very special guests joining us shortly. But before that, let's have a quick look what the markets are up to. So a great move on the markets yet again, and it's the first time that Nifty has scaled past that level of 25,000 mark, Cheryl, and indeed what a move coming in. And it's the broader markets too that are supportive. The bank Nifty is supporting in all fuel. And what are you spotting, Cheryl?
Absolutely. A very good morning to you, Shrishti. A new milestone means a new hairdo as well, isn't it?
Certainly. And you're looking really great, Cheryl. Let me just tell you.
To make sure that we mark this milestone, I decided that we should have a new hairdo. So there you go, 25,000. Finally, it's here on the Nifty. I can literally stop counting the days of numbers, or I cannot count the days. How many times we've expected this number to come and hit. It was a miss and go kind of a move coming in for the markets today. Finally, we are actually above that 25,000 mark when it comes to the Nifty right now. So holding on to those levels. Let's take a look at what the broader markets are doing at this point in time. Like Shrishti said, they are also participating in the move with the benchmark indices. Oh, sorry, they are not participating in the move with the benchmark indices. You have mid-cap and the small-cap index that are in the negative territory, while Nifty Bank is holding on to mild bit of gains. If you look at the advanced decline ratio for now, it is tilted in the favor of losers a tad bit right now. So you can see that actually on the screen as well. The markets are off the day's highest point right now. You have energy, banks that are holding on to gains, while auto, realty and media are the other indices that are in the negative territory. So today, right now, Shrishti, we did see a good firm open above the 25,000 mark. Hopefully, we are able to sustain it as the time goes by.
Well, let's see. And we'll also look out for the next 26,000 mark, Cheryl, because then we'll get to see
a new hairdo.
But indeed, you're looking really good, a good look. And markets are also looking good at this point in time. What a move, and definitely a day to rejoice as well. But with this, viewers, let's shift focus to some of the earnings then. And RITES is the company that we will be putting the spotlight on, because the company did report its numbers this time. And let's talk more on the numbers. Mr. Rahul Mittal, who is the CMD of RITES, is joining us right now. Hi, very good morning, Mr. Rahul, and thank you so much for your time. First of all, if I look at your Q1 performance, then that remained a bit muted on all the fronts, with like sharp cuts in your EBITDA margins as well. So wanted to understand what were the challenges in the quarter gone by, and going ahead, what is the outlook on revenue as well as margins for FY25? Specifically on the margins, can we expect that to rebound?
You see, the quarter has been muted, and this is primarily because the two main challenges, if you compare YOY, the two main challenges in terms of revenue from our inspection vertical and from our export vertical, they had a substantial impact. So if you compare the export revenue, there was a hit of about 35 crores, which was nearly nil this quarter. And the new regime of inspection for IR, which started hitting in last year in the first quarter, that completely rolled out in this quarter of this FY, and that had an impact of about 25 crores. So the total impact combined is about 60 odd crores, which we tried to make good, and we will continue to make good to the extent possible from our project consultancy revenue. But as you see, that has had a net impact of about 50 crores in the top line.
The Shellos are joining in the conversation. Your company has actually signed an agreement to supply about 200 passenger coaches to Bangladesh Railways. If you could tell us what's the timeline for that, what sort of a revenue potential is the company expecting from that particular deal?
See, this is a huge achievement for us, because after a gap of about nearly 3 to 4 years, the COVID and post-COVID period, we have been trying to garner a new export of rolling stock contract. And this was a huge global tender of about 900 crores, 200 coaches, and we have got the order and signed the agreement in this quarter. We will try and see that we expedite while the delivery requirements as per the contract are long, but we, in terms of trying to get revenue at least by end of this FY or latest first quarter of next FY, we will try and expedite the supply of coaches, at least a few lots of 30-40 coaches, so that the revenue starts flowing in.
And also, Mr. Rahul, apart from the Bangladesh order, how are the trends and the opportunities internationally? What is the outlook on export overall?
You see, in our international business, we have two streams of revenue. One is export of rolling stock, and one is international project consultancy. An export of rolling stock, in the last few months, we, as I said, had a breakthrough after a gap of few years. This 900 crores order from Bangladesh Railway, and about 300 crores orders from Mozambique for supply of 10 locomotives. So we have now an order book of about 1,200 crores in export. And on these lines, we are bidding for a large number of EOIs across various geographies. And we are hopeful that in the coming quarters, we should be able to see some more orders in the export of rolling stock. As far as international project consultancy is concerned, we are already doing a highway project in Guyana, airport project in Nepal, a few projects in Bangladesh, a railway and a highway and a multimodal project. And parallelly, we have bid for a number of opportunities across sectors, whether it is highways, railways, multimodal SEZs, etc., across various geographies. And I'm sure these will mature into some orders in the coming quarters. So both these elements of our strategic initiative called Rights Videsh will generate orders in the coming quarters, and we see huge opportunities in this.
Right. Sir, if you could talk about your order book visibility, if you could help us, what sort of visibility that you have for this one for FY 25-26? Also, if you could help us understand which segments will go ahead and drive growth for your company going ahead.
You see, we are very encouraged by the fact that in the last quarter itself, we saw an order book jump of about 11% from 31st March. We added about 1,300 plus crores. And this trend, in fact, if you see in the first two quarters of last financial year, in the first H1, we got total orders of about 600 crores. And if you see the last three quarters, that is the 2 quarters of last FY and the first quarter of this FY, we have added 3,000 crores in our order book. So that's about 5 times the first H1 of last FY. And as we say, we have already reached the milestone of being a one order a day company. And I'm sure we're going to maintain this trend. And the heartening feature is that, as you see the trend also in this quarter, we have got orders across our verticals. So whether it's a tunnel in J&K, it's a highway project in Assam, it's airports in Bihar, it's a rail infra project in Karnataka, it's a building a hospital project in Amravati, Maharashtra. All my verticals are getting orders across the country. So this trend, I'm sure, as I said at the outset, the aim is that this jump in order book in the last few quarters, our focus is to try and execute them at the fastest possible so that they start generating revenue in the coming quarters at the fastest.
Most definitely, and all the best for that, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now to talk about the earnings gone by, this quarter gone by for rights, as well as what's your visibility when you talk about the order book, the growth coming ahead. And that is Mr. Mithal, who was the CMD of rights, talking about his earnings. But let's shift focus. Let's talk about markets. We have Mr. G Chokkalingam joining us on the show right now. Very good morning to you, Mr. Chokkalingam. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. And let's actually talk about these railway PSU companies as a segment. We still have a lot of queries that come in to ask about the railway space, the PSU space in particular. Do you think it's still advisable to go ahead and look at these counters afresh now, given the fact that in the budget we did not see some blockbuster announcements?
Certainly not. Railway capex is marginally up, and most of these PSU railway defense stocks have run up a lot, and valuation comfort is not there. And don't forget the history. Small cap falls once in 2, 3, 4 years very badly, and PSU stocks also correct very badly once in 2, 3 years. But now the valuations are at a record level. So among all the PSUs, we have a lot of comfort only in two stocks, namely Balmalari Company and Coal India. We find them having a great attractive valuation even at current prices. Other stocks we do not recommend within the PSU space.
It's time to slip into a very short break in this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. Don't go anywhere. We'll after the break, we'll start taking your queries, so stay tuned for more.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now, show where we get you answers for all of your stock-related queries. Remember, viewers, you can connect to us on the number that will be flashing on the screen. And do remember, each time you write to us, mention your name, the place that you are located at. Do mention that name as well, along with the stock query that you have. If you've already purchased the stock, then mention the buy price, the quantity, and the time horizon. And in case you're looking to buy the stock, then do mention your time horizon, because in that way we will be able to guide you better and direct your query to our experts. Talking about our experts, we have Osho Krishan, who's joining us on the technicals. He will be guiding you for the short to medium term, while on the fundamentals for our long-term queries, we have Mr. Chokkalingam, who's joined us on the show. Once again, good morning, Mr. Chokkalingam. Good morning to you, Osho. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. And let's start taking your queries. And this one is coming in from Gotham, who's writing to us from Mumbai. And he wants to know about PC Jewelers. Does it make sense to buy this counter at the price of 97 rupees per share? Mr. Chokkalingam, I'll come to you, because PC Jewelers just recently was in news with regards to their debt and the settlement or the progress towards it. What's your take? Do you think that it is a bet now that one should look at?
I think one should sell it because I've gone through the balance sheet in the recent years. I'm not comfortable with the valuation and the quality of the balance sheet. So I would give a sell call on PC Jewelers.
Sell on PC Jewelers for anyone who's holding, but it's a no-go for anyone who wants to buy, right?
Certainly no.
All right. Drishti?
All right, moving on to the next query then, and this query is coming in from Nikhil and Osho. Good morning. This query, Nikhil actually wants your take on HPCL. He's already holding 50 shares. Buy price is 403 rupees. Can he go ahead with this buy since he's an intraday trader? So, what's your view on the same?
Very good morning to both of you. Firstly, Nikhil, if he has taken position for intraday, then in intraday there can be some kind of sluggish movement that can be seen in this counter, because HPCL has been into some kind of profit booking, not negative, but overall on positional basis it is still looking very positive. But for intraday, some strong traction is visible only once it surpasses the zone of 392. So that is a very strong resistance for this counter. While on the lower end, if it plunges below today's low, which is approximately 385, then another 3 point of downside can be seen. Just for intraday, positionally, this counter looks very positive.
Right, Mr. Chokkalingam, coming back to you. This one's coming from Usha, and she wants to know whether she can look to buy Varun Beverages or D Development Engineers, which is a very recently listed counters. Looking at the management commentary, the type of businesses they run, which one do you think looks good for a time horizon of about 2 years for a fresh investment?
It is better than the other stock, and of course Varun Beverage also lacks valuation comfort, but still somebody wants to buy and hold for more than 2-3 years, one can consider Varun Beverages.
All right, that's a hold coming in on Varun Beverages. Moving on to the next query, and this one is coming from Rudra Gowda from and he wants an advice on Tata Elxsi, and Mr. Chokkalingam, if you can help him with this one. He's holding 10 shares, buy price is 6,750 rupees. He's been holding this for the past 2 years. Will that be an exit or hold?
I mean, basically, if you are giving 50 PE, I would compromise and say that profit should grow at least 25%, if not 50%. But unfortunately, Tata Elxsi and Tata Technology, they have failed to grow even one third of the P ratio. Therefore, according to me, it's a good sell.
This one is coming in from Ramesh from Hyderabad. Actually, let me come to you again, Mr. Chokkalingam, because he's a long-term investor. Patel Engineering is the counter. He's bought about 300 shares of Patel Engineering at a price of 59 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should add some more in his portfolio, hold on to it, or look to exit from Patel Engineering.
Hold, slightly there is improvement, though there is a concern on the balance sheet. It's a hold at present.
All right, moving on to the next query, and this one is coming in from a viewer. He didn't share his name actually. Okay, his name is Sunny. So Osho, Sunny has written to us to have your take on Concor. He's holding 55 shares. Buy price is 1,060 rupees. What's the medium-term outlook on this one? Any breakouts possible and any targets to look out for?
Concor has given a very strong breakout and it is currently hovering near the neckline of the breakout zone. So approximately 1000, 1020 is a very strong support for this counter. So for the time being, one should definitely stay invested in this counter. On the higher end, the immediate resistance that can be seen for short term is 1080. The time it surpasses, because it is having a very strong bearish gap on the weekly time frame. So the time it surpasses the zone of bearish gap, then again we can see some continuation on the higher end. So for short-term traders, 1080 should be the target. If a positional is for short to medium-term time frame, then definitely stay invested in this counter. This has a potential to test the zone of 1180 to 1200 from medium-term time.
Right back to you, actually, Osho. This one is coming from Srinivas. He's writing to us from Hyderabad. He's a senior citizen. He's holding Pyramid Enterprises in his portfolio. The price is about 1,190 rupees per share, about 150 shares of this counter in his portfolio. What's your take? Should he continue to hold or look to exit from Pyramid Enterprises? What's this particular counter? Every time you think that it is going to recover or see a breakout, it kind of consolidates, isn't it?
Has a very strong resilience around the zone of 1100. So 1100 is a very crucial zone that one should definitely keep an eye on, because previously by 2 times it has seen a very strong resistance around the same zone. So for now, there is a potential of another 70-80 points of upsurge in this counter. But once it reaches the zone of 1100, then one needs to review. Better to book some kind of profit in it, or better to exit from the position and stay and look for a buy on dip in this counter. Approximately 950, 960 is the support.
Right, so that is Pyramid Enterprises. That's a view coming in from Osho. And yes, that was the 7th query that we've taken. When we come back from break, we will come out with the 8th query. For now, we will slip into a break. More on the other side.
Welcome back to Buy Now, Sell Now. Let's keep it going with all your stock-related queries. And the next query that I have is coming in from Rajiv. And Mr. Chokkalingam, Rajiv wants your take on Thomas Cook. He has purchased the shares around 128 rupees about a year back. The results were not that great, but going ahead, what's the outlook? He can stay invested for the next 1 year. This stock has already been a doubler for him, but should he continue to hold on?
I believe it's a good sell. The expected earnings of next to 1.5 year is already in the price. That's my strong view. Therefore, Thomas Cook is a good sell.
All right, this one is coming from Jai Krishnan, who's writing to us from Kerala. Osho, this one is for you. He wants to know about ABB. He has some shares at a price of 8,630 rupees per share for the medium term. He wants to know what should he do with the counter, given the fact that ABB also has seen some sort of correction creep in right after the global peers, global parent actually reported the numbers. You saw ABB see a sharp crack as well. But what's your take now? Now, 8,630 is the buy price.
See, overall, there has been some correction going on in ABB from the last 2 to 3 trading months. So approximately from the zone of 9,200, it has slipped towards the bullish gap on the weekly time frame of 7,500 odd levels. But looking at the overall sentiment and overall setup, that in the whole segment is overall, I'm expecting that there can be a decent move, not very aggressive on the targets, but gradual upside move can be seen in ABB. near about 84, 8500 is the first resilience for the counter for short-term perspective. But if the time frame is from medium-term time frame, so definitely stay invested in this counter for a longer horizon for a decent returns.
The next query that I have, Mr. Chokkalingam, is from Sri Hari, and he has bought RVNL from a price of 604 rupees. Wants an advice for the long term, whether to continue to hold on or move out and look for better opportunities after the phenomenal run-up that we have seen in the stock already.
You should book profits. Definitely, you should move on to stock like a Balmalari company. Another PSU, it gives 8.5% dividend, and it trades only around 17-18 PE. And its subsidiaries like industrial packaging company in UAE. It's a joint venture with the 49%. It's doing phenomenally well. It's trading. It's a vacation traveling business also doing well. So within PSU, I believe Balmalari company is the best to stock to invest. We also personally invested in Balmalari company.
All right, this one is coming in from our viewer Swati, and for you, Osho, wants to know about two stocks with a good entry price that she can look to buy right now: Jupiter Wagons, Home First Finance, MGL, or Paras Defense. Out of these four, which one do you think looks attractive on the chart, makes sense to go ahead and buy right now for making good profits?
All the counters, Jupiter, I guess MGL was the other counter, and Paras Defense, correct?
First Finance.
Okay, so
Any
all
two
these
of
three
those, which you think?
See, overall, these counters have already seen a very decent uprun in the recent period. So there can be some kind of decent profit booking that can be seen in the short-term period. So time-wise correction phase that can be seen in these counters. But overall, all these counters are looking very positive. Paras being from the defense sector, it is looking very positive. So definitely a buy. But the current levels is approximately higher, or maybe not apt levels to accumulate this counter, but overall I'm expecting that 1200 1250 should be the decent scenario to start accumulating this counter. Again, there cannot be an actual level or the bottom that I can predict, but start investing in a staggered manner in all these three counters. All these three counters have a very strong potential to give you a better return from short to medium term time frame.
All right. The next query that I have, Mr. Chokkalingam, is from Krishan Rajagopal from Mumbai, and he wants an advice on two counters. One of them was Tata Elxsi. Mr. Krishan, Mr. Chokkalingam just gave his take on Tata Elxsi a while back, so you can refer to that. But Mr. Chokkalingam, he also wants a view on Vodafone Idea at current market price. Can he go ahead and buy the stock?
Yeah, as I mentioned, Tata Elxsi is a sell. Vodafone, definitely at the current fundamentals, it's very difficult for any fundamental analyst to justify a buy call. The little risk-taking investors can consider, because by any chance, the government, the promoters, the banks, they all come together to sacrifice a part of the debt and also a part of the equity. Then this can be a phenomenal stock. Otherwise, the equity size will be substantially much more than the annual revenue. And so even if it turns around, the earning per share will be negligible, which will not justify the current price. So therefore, the stock is suitable for risk-taking investors in the possible event of any such a massive positive restructuring. Then the stock can reward. Otherwise, it's very risky to invest.
All right, let's move on to the next query. Then the next query is coming in from our viewer Dhiman, who's writing to us from Kolkata. Just a quick note for all of our viewers. We have a couple of queries that have been answered. One is on RVNL. We've answered the query on that. On Tata Elxsi, we've also answered or taken Mr. Chokkalingam's take coming in on the PSU railway counter. So in case you have all these queries, or you were supposed to ask these queries and you wanted an answer, you can catch the show recap. We will be posting this on YouTube just after the show ends. But let me take this one then, Mr. Chokkalingam, I'll come to you. This one has come from Dhiman. He's writing to us from Kolkata, and he wants to know that since government focuses on rural consumption, would it be advisable for someone to look at Hindustan Foods? If you have looked at the counter fundamentally, Hindustan Foods, not HUL, Hindustan Foods, what's your take on this one? Someone can look at this bet for the longer term, since they are the client base for all FMCG counters, as well as what's your take on KPI Green? Would it be better to look at KPI Green Energy or some other companies in that particular zone?
Look, KPI Green Energy, I don't have valuation comfort. The same case with Hindustan Foods. And HUL is a great company, but among all the FMCG company, it is struggling to grow. We saw recently, over single-digit growth in profit. And once again, the oil price yesterday shot up 3-4%. A part of the business will be affected if oil price continues to rally because some of the inputs are derived from oil. And for many quarters, it is not able to outperform the peers. So instead of all these three companies, one can consider ITC or Nestle if somebody wants to play on the emerging rural theme. Yeah, the budget is positive and also the monsoon has become surplus from the big deficit. So these are the two stocks one can consider instead of other two stocks in the FMCG space.
What about MTAR Tech? You have any view on MTAR Tech? Then, if not KPI Green, you think MTAR Tech is a good bet also to look at for the viewer?
So certainly, I mean, I just want to tell people that I am little conservative. I strictly go by valuation and profit growth versus PE, and I do not have comfort in MTAR technology as well.
All right then, but once again, Mr. Chokkalingam, coming to you, this query is from Fred and he wants you to pick any of the stocks, any of the three stocks that he has in mind right now for a mid to long-term investment. He wants your view on JK Paper, KCP Limited as well as Kirloskar Engineering. Any of the three stocks that you like at this price point?
Kirloskar Engineering has played out enormously, so I would not recommend. Yes, KCP Limited, I cannot give a view because I had done a personal trade in the recent time as per the compliance policy. The third one is, sorry, I forgot.
The third one actually was JK Paper.
Yeah, it's a great company, no doubt at all. It's a leader in the paper industry. If you are willing to wait for 2-3 years, you can buy. Otherwise, right now, the paper industry is not doing that well. Most paper companies have posted an enormous degrowth in the profit, and that outlook is not going to change in 1 or 2 quarters. So, therefore, if somebody is willing to wait for minimum, 18 months to 24 months, then one can consider JK Paper.
That I have is coming in from a viewer who's not mentioned his name. Hemant is his name. He's been writing to us continuously. We've not been able to take his query. Let me take it today to you, Osho. The query is on Tata Power as well as Adani Power. He's holding Tata Power from the levels of about 200 rupees per share, whereas for Adani Power, the levels is 700 rupees per share, where he's recently entered Adani Power. What's your take on both of these counters? What is the medium to a little long-term outlook on Tata Power and Adani Power, and given the fact that Adani Power he's just recently recently entered?
The power sector is looking very positive to me. All the power companies, power related companies like NTPC, Power Grid, Tata Power are on the verge of giving a fresh breakout, or NTPC and Power Grid has already given, but Tata Power will be giving a fresh breakout on the daily and weekly time frame. So I am very much optimistic with the view on Tata Power. One should stay invested. On the higher end for short term, approximately 480, 485 should be the target that one can expect for short term perspective based on the technical setup that it has made in the last 3 months. So Tata Power is a definitely hold counter for short and even for medium term time frame. Now Adani Power, as he has entered recently, so I'm expecting, because this counter is still in a very strong consolidation phase and there has been no sign of any decisive breakout till now. So the time it gives a very strong movement beyond 750, 755 odd levels, then only we can see some kind of upsurge in this counter. For the time being, it is hovering in a very narrow zone, 700 or 695 on the lower end, and approximately 750 on the higher zone is the immediate range. The time we witness a range breakout, then again 50 to 60 odd points of movement can be seen in this counter.
All right, Osho, once again coming to you. This query is from Gaurav from Bangalore, and his query is: at what price point can he enter Kansai, Nerolac and Bank of Maharashtra for long term?
See, for paint counters, majorly all these counters have seen very strong traction in the last 3 to 4 trading sessions. Kansai Nerolac has again seen a very strong reversal on the daily time frame and weekly time frame. So I'm expecting that in the coming period, this momentum should continue on the higher end, because there has been a very strong reversal from very strong support base. So on the lower end, I am expecting that even if it retouched the neckline of approximately 290, 285 zone, that should be seen as a very apt level to accumulate this counter, while on the higher end, 340, 45 is the immediate resistance. So one should try to book their profits around the zone of 345.
It's time for you, Mr. Chokkalingam from Pankaj. He has two counters that he wants your query on. One is Yes Bank. He already has purchased the stock at levels of about 26.2 rupees per share. The other one is Dhampur Sugar at a price of around 234 rupees per share. What's your outlook on both of these counters? Should he stay put with them or shift out of them?
Yeah, both counters are reasonably good in terms of balance sheet and quality of management now. However, sugar industry is going through a tough time now. We have already seen a few companies posting even losses. So I would not suggest even hold on sugar stocks now, because global sugar price also down terribly bad. Yes Bank you can hold. Definitely, if there is any significant correction, one can add also, because the quality of asset has improved, and price to adjusted book value also has come to the comfortable level now for Yes Bank. So he can hold and add in case it falls, even 3 to 5%.
All right, Mr. Chokkalingam, what's your view on Zensar Tech? Because all these IT companies are now once again coming back in flavor, and TN Ravi is already holding 200 shares and sitting at a 40% profit in this one. What to do in this particular stock? Continue to hold on or book some profits here?
He should sell it. A lot of small and mid-sized companies are trading at even 30-40 PE. And whereas the industry is expected to post only 2 to 4% growth in dollar term, which is not going to change, another 4 or 6 quarters. So, therefore, I would give sell call on Zensar Technology at the current price.
All right, that's the view coming in on Zensar Tech. A lot of queries actually coming for the long term this today, actually, Mr. Chokkalingam. And this one's from Sridhar, writing to us from Coimbatore. He wants to know about PG Electroplast. Is it a long term bet that he can take for good return expectations, as well as Adani Power? We took a technical view on Adani Power, but fundamentally, do you think long term wealth can be made in both of these counters?
PG Electroplast, yeah, you may hold on to it, or you may even buy it if he's willing to wait for 2-3 years. The valuation comfort is not there, but then the company, to be fair, is doing very well on growth front. So for very long term, one may consider. Adani Power, if there is any correction, one can, consider, because if you see the enterprise value per megawatt, slightly elevated. But however, if somebody is willing to wait for 3 to 5 years, then even Adani Power can be a buy at the current price.
All right, then that's the take coming in on Adani Power. But with this, it's time to slip into a very short break. Viewers, don't go anywhere. As we come right back, it's time to take more of your stock-related queries. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and let's continue taking all of your stock-related queries then. And this next one is coming in from Samba Siva Rao, who's writing to us from Vijayawada. He wants to know about WPIL as well as Elecon Engineering for a period of about 18 to 24 months. He's terming that period as a long term. Mr. Chokkalingam, what's your take? WPIL, in case you track, as well as Elecon Engineering.
Yeah, both are good companies, but valuations are slightly elevated. Still, if he wants to hold it for a minimum 2 years, then he can hold.
All right, taking the next one, and this one is coming in. Mr. Chokkalingam, this one is coming from Naga Kumar, and he wants to know, can he invest into 1,000 shares of MTNL or Suzlon for a long term for the next 2 years, maybe?
He has a habit of going to casino, then he can invest in these two stocks.
Oh, all right. This next one, Mr. Chokkalingam, is sorry. This one is for you, Osho. It's coming from Salu, who's writing to us from Chennai. 100 shares of National Fertilizers, 140 rupees per share, as well as RCF at a price of around 220 rupees per share. In loss with both of these counter. What should the outlook be for both of them now?
I think he can hold. Generally, the fertilizer stock, they do well, during monsoon period when they turn out to be good, rainfall turn out to be good. So, and then post monsoon, when March quarter comes, they tend to correct. So, since they are all trading at a very high level, I would not advise buying. But if somebody is holding, they can definitely hold it. And for the short term, if they rise another 5-10%, one can sell them.
All right, the next query, Osho, is coming from B. Soumya, holding GNFC from a price of 694 rupees. What's the short to medium term target in this one?
See, overall, this counter is on the verge of giving a breakout around the zone of 730 odd levels. If it does, then we can expect another 40 point of rally in this counter. So near about 770, 780 should be the target that one can expect in this counter.
All right then, this one is coming in from our viewer Sagar, who's a regular viewer of ours, and he wants a combo view actually on Gulf Oil Lubricant. Let me first pose the query, technical query to you, Osho. Then Mr. Chokkalingam, I'll come to you on his fundamental take, and he wants to know whether you concur with it or no. He's bought Gulf Oil Lubricants, about 2,400 shares at a price of 424 rupees per share. He believes that the risk reward was pretty favorable to go long on the stocks, and it was available at multi-year support lows, is what he's saying actually, Osho. So now he wants to know, for the medium to short to medium term, do you see any upside in the counter, and by how much percent do you think an upside will occur for Gulf Oil?
To say that the person is definitely a technical analyst, because he have guessed the appropriate support zone for this counter, and from there onwards the counter has even multiplied 3 times on the higher end. Even for now, I am expecting that there should be some continuity on the higher range. But with the kind of momentum that has been seen in this counter, one should definitely try to keep or book some kind of profit at current levels, keeping a stop loss around 1150. While on the higher end, till the momentum persists, stay invested with the rest of the quantity, but try to book at least the capital around the zone of 1150 as a stop loss.
All right, and Mr. Chokkalingam, coming to you, what his fundamental take is, he wants your overall outlook on the lubricants market, by how much you expect the growth for that particular industry to go on, for when you talk about the sales and the revenue for lubricant market, in case you have actually read through the market, and also can EV become a disruption in the sector, he wants to say, and does it make sense to stay put with Gulf Oil in that light?
It's a good company, part of good management, and it's done reasonably well also in the recent quarters. But the stock has nearly doubled, and I would when he talks about disruption, the disruption is in the negative way, because EV is slowly penetrating, and which is negative for lubricant, and also there are many players in the lubricant, including OMCs. And the competition is getting intensified. So considering all that, I would give the fair price of somewhere around 1,350. Beyond that, I doubt whether the stock can reward even in the medium term.
Right, that's the take coming in on Gulf Oil Lubricant. But with this, viewers, it's time's up in this edition of Buy Now Sell Now show. Thank you so much, Osho, as well as Mr. Chokkalingam, for joining us today and helping our viewers resolve their stock-related queries. But with this, it's a goodbye from me and Cheryl and the entire team who put this show together. Viewers, thank you so much for watching, but don't go anywhere. Markets at noon will take the action ahead.